So when a woman decides not to have a child, she's considered as an aberration. It is not a normal thing in the society. There are in fact many words within the Indian languages. In fact, almost all the languages have a derogatory word for women who don't have children.
Like example?
For instance, in Hindi, it's called banj, which means empty. So it is empty in a very, very humiliating sort of a way. It actually denotes that there is no purpose to that woman's life. It's like a tree which has not borne fruit, and therefore it's a useless tree. So the whole entire cultural system is such that the woman's role, right from early childhood to the point of her death, the maternity is an integral part of her existence. So to take a position of not having a child is like going against this entire cultural system. So, but people do take that position. There are, for instance, a lot of women who have gone in through a lot of processes of thinking, who have rejected patriarchy, who have thought of a world which is a little different, where they have a life of their own. So people who have decided not to have children. I happen to be one of them, to not have a child of my own, but it is not considered as the normal thing to do. And in fact, even within the family, within people who know, they think it is something that has gone wrong in the head. It was seen as part of all the things that was not normal that was being done. For instance, it was seen as something's wrong with the head. How can you not want to have a child? Everybody wants to have a child. The purpose of living itself is to continue life, and why would one not want to have a child? These are some of the kinder comments. And then there are people from the neighborhood who will come and tell my mother, or that why isn't she having a child? What is wrong with her? Or they would keep building a pressure. People would keep coming and saying, when will the good news come? When will we get sweets to eat, to celebrate? So it is as if there is no happiness in life. It is a matter of pity. So what happens is, like for instance, people like my mother, who can't understand this kind of a decision, she does get stressed by the kind of social expectations. In fact, a lot of people I know who haven't had children, not because of choice, but because of the biological, for reasons or for whatever other reasons, there is a lot of women lose their self-confidence because of not having a child. They get into depression, and these are women who have career, they have a life, they are quite independent, but because they have not had a child, they feel, and because of this kind of a social pressure, you really get to feel under stress for not producing a child. But for instance, people like me who have decided not to have a child, and there are reasons for that. Even from early childhood, I thought that I don't need to have a child of my own to feel maternal instincts. I can feel maternal love in many other ways, and I sought that. I tried to create communities for that. But because the larger social world doesn't understand this, they don't think this is the normal way to be. So it is always like telling, while one is trying to explain to people, they're not really kind of wanting to listen to this explanation, because it's seen as being empty, and so a lot of women, in fact, who don't have children, then they are subjected to pitifulness, to being made to feel sorry for themselves, and it has a very negative effect on people's self-esteem and confidence. Even for people like me who chose not to have children, because all around you become conscious of that, and all around you there are people who look at you as somebody, she's not fulfilled certain responsibilities, she's trying to be free, she's trying to be self. So even if you're responsible, you're doing a lot of things, it is seen as not being enough because you have not played a particular role. I may have extended maternal relationships, maternal instincts to a lot of other institutions, people, but it doesn't kind of get that kind of a response, and there is a lot of pressure on in terms of trying to fit in with the rest of the community. For instance, how one tries to associate with others, it's like being the odd one out. See, I'm a university educated person who teaches in the university also, and even for a person like me, I'm like constantly telling myself, why I took a decision like this, because of the kind of social pressure that exists. So I think for women who have not had this privilege, a community of lunadigas can be very empowering in terms of, okay, it is a way to be, it is also a way of living. It is a choice that people have, and to have a child or not have a child, to do with the body what one chooses to do, and to also build other kinds of social relationships which may not be biologically linked, but social relationships of sharing, love and cooperation, that can be explored, and that is very essential I think for people who don't have children. It can be a strengthening. It can be see, a lot of things currently in India is trying to fit women back into the domestic roles, and which includes bearing children and looking after them. It is a very private kind of a child rearing. It is not not child rearing of togetherness, but child rearing which is very private and which is restricted to the household. So there would be a lot of resentment against this, but I think if it's a community of solidarity, and it can be a good, for instance, when we were talking in that group, it was interesting. I was thinking, how many people go through this kind of ideas and thoughts. And a lot of I remember there was this woman comrade of mine. She had very long ago in the 1970s, she had decided not to have a child. So, and she had gone in for an abortion. Later on, many years later, when her body could not produce a child, and she was in her 60s, so she told me, I miss having a child. And I thought, but it was not with a regret. She missed having a child because she thought it would be kind of a link with her partner, her love. But that was a different kind of an idea of having a child, and the idea of not having a child earlier in life came from another kind of a context of living. I think we may go through processes of wanting to have a child and then choosing not to have a child. So this kind of a thought process we are constantly going through, and a community of people where you can voice these kind of ideas, it is a useful platform.
Okay.
Because it kind of is reassuring, and many times when you're not taking a decision which is part of the social norm and you're not conforming, one needs to tell oneself, one needs to talk to oneself as much as talk to others. And because you're trying to live a life which is not within the pattern. See, in my country it is not taken very kindly. And in fact, in many India is a large country, there are many different cultures there. It is a very diverse kind of a community. But across the country, the decision not to have a child is not taken very kindly, and often it is not even thought of as something that the woman decides, because women are not even in control of their bodies in many parts of the country. So so to choose to have a child or not to have a child is kind of a debate which is at an end which is very far off. In fact, poor women are today being subjected to their bodies being rented for having children. For instance, surrogacy, and so the thing is, it's like a maternal instinct which is outsourced, maternity which is outsourced.
Okay.
So women are receiving that. So it is a very complex kind of a situation where we are. There is a cultural element, but there is also the way capital is making inroads into the bodies of people.
Okay.
So it is a complex scenario that way. But for women who don't have children, there are two kinds of responses. One is that of being pitied, and the other is that of being resented. It is of being disliked because for not having fulfilled the responsibilities. And even amongst women who are in career, who have a job, and who are in well-placed jobs, there is a feeling that, she is kind of, she is so career-centric. She has all the time in the world for the career. So what's the big deal about it? And there is a tendency to isolate woman, the woman who does not have a child, from by the other women who have children, who are always talking about children. In spite of the fact that the woman who does not have the child may feel as much love for children as everybody else, but that love is not valued as something, unless and until there is a transactional element to that. Amongst men also, even in the groups, men also look at the woman who doesn't have a child as and who's participating in all the public spheres and political spheres as, she is participating because she doesn't have children, so she has not fulfilled her primary responsibilities. So that is the dominant tendency. There are, and people think that she's a liberated, free woman, and who's having a lot of fun in her life by not having children. So other kinds of relationships are not seen as being part of it, because it's a traditional society, and in traditional societies, the nature of family that is understood is very traditional in character and nature. So, but we have to set up our own kind of communities.